I'm James Hunt. I'm 62 years old, and I spent decades waiting for life to slow down so I could finally live in the present. Turns out, that moment never comes. And what I'm about to share with you, I genuinely wish someone had sat me down and forced me to understand 40 years ago. Not suggested it, not hinted at it, forced it. Because living in the present sounds simple, almost cliché, until you realize most people never actually do it. Sit with me for a minute. Don't skip ahead, because this isn't theory. This is experience, paid for in years I can't get back. I used to believe life was something that would start later, when work settled down, when I made enough money, when the kids grew up, when things finally felt stable. They never did. What I didn't realize at the time is this: life doesn't pause and wait for you to arrive. It keeps moving, quietly, steadily, whether you're paying attention or not. And one day, you look up, and entire chapters are gone. I've watched this happen not just to me, but to almost everyone I know. Good people, smart people, people with every intention of being happy someday. That someday is where most lives get lost. So I'm going to walk you through a few hard lessons I learned about living in the present. Not the kind you read on a quote page, the kind that sneak up on you over 10, 20, 30 years. And I promise you, at least one of them is going to hit closer than you expect. Number 1. Postponing joy like it's something you can schedule later. I spent most of my 30s and 40s telling myself the same story. I'll enjoy life when things calm down, when the workload eases, when the bills shrink, when I finally feel like I've earned it. There was always a reason to delay. I remember one summer, my kids were still young. They wanted to go on a simple weekend trip. Nothing expensive, just a drive, a cheap motel, time together. I said no, not because I couldn't afford it, but because I was busy. Busy doing what? Work that I barely remember now. You know what I do remember? The look on their faces when I said, maybe next time. That next time came, but they were older, less interested, less excited. Something had already shifted. Here's the lesson. Joy doesn't wait for your schedule to clear. It shows up in small, inconvenient windows, and if you keep postponing it, eventually it stops knocking. Number 2, living in your head instead of your life. I had a habit of being physically present, but mentally somewhere else. Sitting at dinner thinking about work, on vacation worrying about emails, talking to someone while rehearsing what I'd say next instead of actually listening. I thought this was normal, productive even. It's not. It's a quiet way of missing your own life. There was a moment, I must have been in my late 40s, my wife was telling me a story. I nodded, responded, did all the right things. Halfway through, she stopped and said, "You didn't hear a word I just said, did you?" She was right. That moment stuck with me more than it should have, because it wasn't just about that conversation, it was about years of half attention. Here's the lesson. Being there is not the same as being present, and people can feel the difference immediately. Number 3, treating ordinary days like they don't matter. For a long time, I believed the important parts of life were the big moments, promotions, milestones, achievements, the things you celebrate. Everything else, just filler. That mindset cost me more than I realized. Because most of life isn't made up of big moments. It's made up of regular Tuesdays, quiet mornings, uneventful evenings. I used to rush through those days, barely noticing them, always thinking about what's next, what's bigger, what's better. Then one day, much later, I found myself wishing for one of those ordinary days back. Just one. A normal dinner, a casual conversation, a day where nothing went wrong and nobody needed anything from it. Here's the lesson. The ordinary days are the life, not the breaks between it.
Number 4. Believing presence requires perfect conditions. I told myself I couldn't relax, couldn't slow down, couldn't be present until everything was in order, until problems were solved, until life felt stable. That never happened. There was always something, a bill, a worry, a responsibility, something unfinished.
If you wait for a problem-free life before you allow yourself to be present, you'll be waiting forever. I learned this the hard way during a particularly stressful period in my 50s. Financial pressure, family issues, health concerns, all at once. I kept saying, once I get through this, I'll take a breath. That phase ended, another one replaced it. Different problems, same pattern.
Here's the lesson. Presence is not something you earn after life settles down. It's something you choose in the middle of the mess. Number 5. Underestimating how fast it all moves. This one is the hardest to explain unless you've felt it. Time doesn't feel fast when you're in it. It feels normal, manageable, like there's plenty of it. Then you look back and it's gone in chunks you can't account for.
I remember thinking 10 years was a long time. Now I can lose track of a decade without trying. That's what happens when you're not paying attention, when you're always focused on what's next instead of what's now. There are entire seasons of my life that feel like a blur, not because they were bad, but because I wasn't fully there for them. Here's the lesson. The speed of life doesn't hit you in the moment. It hits you in hindsight. And by then, you don't get those moments back. Look, none of these mistakes felt like mistakes at the time. That's what makes them dangerous. They feel normal, justified, responsible even. But they add up quietly. And one day, you realize you weren't really living in the present, you were just passing through it.
Not intentionally, not carelessly, just unconsciously. And that's the part I'm trying to save you from. Look, I'm not standing here pretending I figured this out early. I didn't. I'm still catching myself drifting, still pulling my mind back to where my feet already are. But here's the difference now. I notice it.
I notice when I'm rushing through a conversation instead of listening. I notice when I'm thinking about tomorrow while today is still happening. And more importantly, I correct it. Not perfectly, just deliberately. Because living in the present isn't some grand transformation. It's not a personality change. It's a series of small corrections you make, over and over again. You don't need to overhaul your life. You need to pause for 10 seconds when you're about to rush past something that matters. You need to actually listen the next time someone speaks to you. You need to stop telling yourself, I'll enjoy this later, and just enjoy it now. Even if it's small, even if it's inconvenient. That's it. If there's anything I'd ask you to do after this, it's simple. Pick one moment today, just one, and be fully there for it. No phone, no rushing, no thinking ahead. Just one. Because that's how this changes. Not in big dramatic shifts, but in small, conscious adjustments. And if you do that consistently, something interesting happens. Life doesn't slow down, but it starts to feel fuller. That's all I've got. If this hits home, hit share on this video. Drop a comment below and let me know what's changing for you. Hit subscribe because I've got more real talk coming and time's running out.